we once showed it at a bar mitzvah without the bar mitzvah boy. I'm like, see?
Okay. So this time I'm going to say a short story because we're starting late. You know, Rav Shmuel Grainiman, Zecher Tzadik Livracha, used to live in Bnei Brak. He was there when the Chafetz Chaim came to Vilna, and everybody was coming to get bracha from the Chafetz Chaim. He says, like, you know, the place was packed, and everybody come, and he would give them everyone a bracha, a separate bracha to everyone. He says someone came, and he asked for a bracha. Chafetz Chaim says, I'm not going to give him a bracha. He said, what do you think I am? The source of barachot? And whatever he did, no. Chafetz Chaim says, I do not give a bracha. Right? And he wouldn't even listen to the guy. Like, you know, he wanted to explain, I need a bracha for this and all that. So this person went to Rav Shmuel Grainiman and asked him to try, like, you know, to push to get a bracha. Then Chafetz Chaim told Rav Shmuel Grainiman that go explain to him that my bracha is not going to help if he doesn't keep Shabbat properly. Right? So he says, when I told this guy, he started crying and begging that, like, you know, that's it, I'm going to try not to do melacha on Shabbat, not to work on Shabbat. He had a mill, like, you know, and he would run, you know, a water mill. He would grind flours in it. He says he's just going to give the business over to a goy for Shabbat, no matter how much losses he has, and as long as the Chafetz Chaim will give him bracha. He says, we were all standing there. Rav Grainiman says, we were like, who told the Chafetz Chaim about this guy? This is Vilna. This is not rotting his town. And how does he know about this guy and not keeping Shabbat and all that? He says, so that Hashem yira'av. And so it was. This person just completely stopped, you know, started keeping Shabbat perfectly. Okay. So this week, Be'ezrat Hashem, we're going to try to cover the melacha of maveer. Am I right? I think the last halacha that we learned was about mechabeh, right? Putting out fire. I think we covered that. We're going to continue to the melacha of maveer. Maveer means igniting, right? Igniting anything in fire, right? So that in order to use the fire, right? That means you turn a fire on in order to use the fire or to use the outcome of the fire, which would be, as we said last week about mechabeh, to gain coals, charcoal from it. Or you are making a fire in order to use the ashes. Okay? So, if you just want to burn someplace down, you know, that would be a mutar. No, that wouldn't be also from the Torah, because over there, what do you gain? You're not gaining anything. But if he is igniting, making a fire in order to use the fire for cooking, for light, for heating purposes, or for other things, for the ashes or for the charcoal that he gains at the end, this is the melacha of maveer from the Torah. Okay, in the Mishkan, obviously, what would they do? They would burn wood in the fire in order to cook in them the herbs that they need to extract dyes from them. That's what they needed fire for in the Mishkan. Now, the act of havara itself is kilkul, right? Is breaking something, like destroying, because the fire just destroys things, right? And we know kol kilkulim, whatever is a mekalkel, is a patur. It's asur from midrabanan, but it's patur. And so therefore the same thing here. The melacha of maveer on Shabbat really is mekalkel. It's only asur from the Torah if you need the fire to use it for any of the above mentioned purposes that we just mentioned. Also gaining that the charcoal, that would be the proper usage of the fire, because it would be impossible to get to the charcoal without igniting the fire. How would you get coals without that? Although you could bury it underground for over a millennia and slowly it'll become carbon. That's another way of getting it. Okay, now, when a person stokes, everyone knows what's stoking, right? You 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 move around the charcoals, right, on Shabbat. This is a sur from the Torah, right? It's called mechateh gechalim, right? Moving around the charcoals. That is a sur from the Torah because this ignites the fire, gets the fire going, right? And also one who blows onto the charcoals as well. That is the melacha of the Torah of maveer, of igniting the fire. Okay, so any of these, anything, so even if you have the fire going already, you're just making the fire stronger, that is also part of melacha maveer. Even if you don't use the special machine, the blower that they use, it's like a pump action thing that you use in order to, in like big furnaces, they use that in order to get the fire going stronger. Even if you just blow on it, like a little bit, you see the effect on the charcoal or the fire. This is a sur from the Torah, melacha of maveer. Now, in the same token, one is not allowed to open on Shabbat a door or a window, right, where there is a fire, there is a bonfire, there is a little fire going, and then as a result of you opening the door, even if right now there is just a small wind coming in, right, but where this fire is there is a wind that could come, and to get this fire going stronger, it would be asur to open that door or window. However, if at the time you want to open the window or door, there is no wind at all, or the fire is far from the door or the window, it's like at the end of the room or at the end of the whatever hall, and so on and so forth, then that would be mutar, because the wind that would come, that wouldn't make the fire go stronger, and then that would be allowed. The opposite of it also is true. That means when you close the window, right, and now that wind doesn't come in to get that fire going, that's not mechabeh. You're not putting out the fire, because that's just not even grama.
So this doesn't apply to Shabbat candles because they're not going to get bigger, right?
Shabbat candles, you're talking about wicks, right?
Yeah.
So over there you have another issue. The halakha is brought down that you shouldn't light them in a place where people would open the door or the window and the wind will blow them out.
Let's say it won't blow it out.
If it won't blow it out, you just leave it there. No, it doesn't. The wind over there doesn't make it stronger.
What about gas stove? Does that apply?
Doesn't apply either. Over there also the wind doesn't make it thing. If you open the door and so on and so forth, no, it doesn't make it. We're talking about fire. Fire, like from a bonfire, you have the charcoal, burning. Let's say you have one of these wall heaters, what is it? Fireplace. There for sure. If you open the door and it's windy, yeah, that thing gets the fire going. In the logs and everything, yeah, the fire will get going. That would be an issue. Now, following the same halakha, one is not allowed to move or even touch an oil light on Shabbat, which is on Shabbat, because any movement, it could cause that there's going to create waves in the oil, and it'll cause the oil to get sucked into the wick more, and it'll make the flame bigger. That making the flame bigger is maveer. Right? That making the flame bigger is maveer, and that's a isur from the Torah. It's not just like a rabbinic isur. It's maveer, and you have interest in it because you're going to have more light. It's going to be more light, and that is in fact okay. We're going to get to the isur of that the Chachamim say, but before that, let's say you have Sephardim. Our custom is we don't usually light the Shabbat candles on the Shabbat table. Ashkenazim, they do. Now, if this table is wobbly, then according to everyone, you should not leave your candles on this table, because the smallest movement you make under the table, it's going to be causing the oil to cause the flame to go up and down. So if it's even a little bit wobbly or shaky, a person should not light his candles on this table. Now, Chachamim said that it is asur to light the Shabbat candles with oils that they don't get absorbed into the into the wick properly. There are certain oils. It says this is the second parak in the second Shabbat. So it says like you don't light with certain oils that are brought down in the Mishnah. They said not to light with them. Why? Because these oils don't get absorbed well onto the wick. And what's going to happen is they're going to start. What happens is this is the wick. It's going to be around it. It's going to be dancing around the wick. And what this person is going to do? He sees that this thing is acting up. He's going to go ahead and tilt it and try to get the oil onto it better. And that is a gezerah of Chachamim. So that the person should not do that. They said do not use these oils.
What kind of oil?
They don't apply these days because all the oils that are out there in the market, they're very well refined and they all work well. Canola, soy, or vegetable oils, all these oils, they work rather well. They all they refine them so much. We don't have them. We don't have those oils, for this. The same idea, there are certain petilot, there are certain wicks that it says over there that a person shouldn't use. They're like seaweeds and different types because they also, they cause trouble, and the person might put them out, might try to fix them on Shabbat. So that's what they said. There are certain restrictions as far as the wicks and as far as oils. But these days, most of the wicks that we have are made from cotton, and they don't pose any of these problems. Chachamim also prohibited that a person should not use the light of candles for things that need a lot of attention. You need to use the light in order to take care of these things. Reading, trying to check something to see, you need to really be able to see well. Chachamim said it's asur to use a candle light on Shabbat to do this, to read, to learn, you want to tell the difference between two clothes. A person shouldn't do it in front of candles. Why? Because he might want to see better, and he's going to go ahead and tilt the candle.
So not the same reason for the menorah.
No. That's because that's Kodesh on Chanukah. That's what is Kodesh, and we're not allowed to use it. No. On Shabbat is a gezerah of Chachamim because he might go ahead and tilt it and be over. Unless you have someone watching you. If you have someone watching you, then you're not going to do it. It's going to tell you, hey, buddy, what are you doing? Shabbat. Throw a rock at you. So in that case, you're fine.
Why would the other person remember it's Shabbat and not you?
You get so involved.
You
just get so involved. You lose. You forget that it's Shabbat. The other person is just standing there spacing out. He's not like, the fact is that if he's also learning with you, let's say they're both learning the same sefer, forget it. It's not going to help. There's a whole thing in the Mishnah over there. It says that the Rebbe could stand over the kids, and they're all learning from how many books did they have? They only had one book for 10 kids, so the Rebbe could stand there and give it, and they're all trying to read from the book. And that's allowed, even though they're all using that candle, because they're afraid of the Rebbe. They won't do it. They won't touch the candle. Now, this is talking about a candle, an oil wick candle. But how about the wax candles, right? Wax candles, so over there, some poskim in the olden times they said that's also not allowed because wax back then it wasn't very well refined. There was a lot of garbage in it. They had pieces of twigs in it, different things, and it wouldn't light as clear as the olive oil lamp, let's say. So over there also, but later poskim they bring the regular candles that we have now. Right, the paraffin candles, or even the new wax candles. The question becomes: is this also asur to read in their light or not? Poskim say yes. We should not use the modern day candles as well because you might go ahead not tilt it. But what happens is, as the candle burns, there is a black piece of the wick that remains there. So in order for it to give better light, you might go ahead and take that piece of wick off. So now the light is clearer, right? So because of that, they say the person should not read things that need a lot of attention, a lot of concentration under even a regular candle, because it might go ahead and get rid of that little wick over there, right? So basically, don't use the candle to read. You know, if your lights go out, let's say you have a timer, and your light goes off. So now, and you're so busy reading that article on the Shabbat magazine, of course, special Shabbat magazine that you're reading, right? And then you said, "No, I can't. I have to finish this." Like, you know, you go buy the Shabbat candles. Don't do it.
But you could probably bench, because you wouldn't be a concept. I'm saying you know
Right.
Yeah, benching
Things-
is okay.
Things
Benching
that
is
don't
fine.
usually Birkat Hamazon, everybody knows. Everybody knows them well. If you don't know it well yet, well, you better. But if you don't know it well yet, then then find some other means, or have someone watch you. Tell someone to watch you. Say, "Listen, I need to say Birkat Hamazon. I need you to watch me so that I won't fix this candle." Right.
Do people really feel tempted to touch light?
Yeah.
It's such a funny temptation.
I know, that's what I said.
Yeah.
It is.
Like I hear stain. Like if you get stained, it's always made it hard to clean it. That's the hardest.
That's true.
But
That's very
to
true.
touch light is like
Look, Baruch Hashem, you haven't been stuck in a situation where it's very, very, very dark, and you're in the middle of something that needs your concentration. And,
right.
Good.
Maybe if you're like trying
you always had electricity. Right.
Right.
That's what it is.
Yeah, but if it doesn't need
No,
concentration,
Then that's
then
fine.
you can use it.
You're not gonna, because you're not gonna
Like,
tilt
red
it.
light.
It's something that you don't need that much concentration for. Then that would be fine. Does it happen? It doesn't really happen so much, this thing. It doesn't really happen. Okay, Baruch Hashem. Now, how about electricity? Is one allowed to use electricity using something that needs a lot of concentration? Obvious answer is yes,
What?
because you're not gonna, what are you gonna do with the electricity? You're gonna turn it up higher?
Oh.
How about if the light has a dimmer, right?
Yeah.
And it's a little bit dimmed, and you would be tempted to say, you know what, I can't see well, let me turn it up higher. Really, on this, Chachamim never made a gezerah, so therefore it would be allowed to. However, they say it's better that a person put some sort of a reminder on the switch saying, hey, it's Shabbat, you know, something like that, so that a person should not be tempted to turn the light up. Okay, now let's move to turning on lights on Shabbat. One who turns on a light on Shabbat, incandescent lamps, like, you know, they have a metal string in the middle that thing lights up, it burns up, right? This is or a plata, that's an electric heater that has an element, like, you know, a metal element that gets nice and red, or anything that has these elements. It's this is melacha of maveer, right? When a person turns these things on, that would be the melacha of maveer, because you are now igniting, you are creating fire. Now, how about if a person turns on a fan, right? Or anything else that does not have a light, does not have a light bulb or a light? What is that?
what does that do with fire?
Exactly. There is no fire. So therefore, these things, turning them on Shabbat, is not asur from the Torah. It's asur midrabanan, right?
To turn on a fan on Shabbat is assuming turn
If it doesn't have any light bulbs, right? That's asur midrabanan. It's not. What is the isur exactly? There's a machloket between the achronim. Like, you know, this is only around for like 200 years. So there's the achronim. What the isur of the rabbanan is? Chazoni says it's the malacha of boneh, because you are creating a circuitry, you're completing a circuitry, and many achronim are against that. They said no, whatever, the isur is something else. Now, what about though when you turn some of these things on, there are sometimes sparks that come out? Are you creating fire? No, sparks aren't really fire. That doesn't create a fire. That's just a spark. And it's not a isur of havara from the Torah. It only goes back to a isur of the Rabbanah. Now, because these lights would be asur from the Torah, lights, when we're talking about lights, so when it comes to refrigerators, we have to make sure that before Shabbat, these lamps are shut off. Now, more modern refrigerators, we have a lot more problems to deal with. It's not enough that you shut the lights off, because even if you shut the light off, still you're going to have the digital readout turn on as soon as you open the door. You're going to have the temperature read for you. You're going to have so many different things going on. There's also a heating element usually in the door and in the freezer. They all turn on as soon as you open the door. There is a whole factory. As soon as you open the door, it just starts off. So a lot of these things, Baruch Hashem, now they have Shabbat settings. You press a button, Sabbath mode, and takes care of a lot of these, all of these things. Like just cuts them out. But other things, you got to make sure. You got to go on I think Star K has in their website, which brands are what problems and how you could fix it, how you could take care of it. Baruch Hashem, there's a lot of these things that we should bear in mind. Now, if you're still stuck with an old fridge, that the only problem with this fridge is a light, then what happens is, if you forgot to disconnect the light, what happens now? Then obviously, if you remember, then don't open the fridge. You can't, because if you open the fridge, the light is going to go on. However, it's Shabbat, and you need the stuff from the fridge. You could go ahead and call Mustafa to come and help you. Let a goy, right? That's our goy, right? And tell him, listen, man, open the door. You could directly, you don't have to hint. You directly tell him, open the door, because you're not telling him, Mustafa, turn the light on, right? You're not telling him that. You're telling him, open the door.
And then could you tell him to take down the switch?
Oh, and once he does turn the thing on, tell him to take the light bulb out, something
So
like
if you have one of those refrigerators that have, I don't know if you know these, like, my refrigerator doesn't have a light bulb, so my husband has to put a magnet on it. You know those?
No, a magnet.
Yeah, it's a whatever. It's a lot of people have this problem, so they just return their fridge. But my husband said you can just put a magnet. So before Shabbat, he puts a magnet and it sucks out all the light.
Is that you sure that's the only thing that's needed for this?
I don't know. I should find out.
Find out, because sometimes you need more, because there's other things that go on. Some of these new fridges, is it a Samsung?
Sorry.
Is it a Samsung fridge?
Oh yeah, I think it's a
A
Samsung.
lot of issues. Huh? Yeah? No, yeah. So there's some of these things, a lot of these fridges, the new fridges, oh my gosh, they have so many things.
Really complicated.
There's a lot of things. Baruch Hashem, some of them, as I said, I think Kenmore has a Shabbat mode. I don't remember which ones. GE has a Shabbat mode. I don't know which. By the way, I'm getting commission from all these companies. So, all right, but certainly a person could tell a goy to go ahead and open the fridge, and also could tell him to put out the light bulb. And if there's no goy,
How come you can tell him to take out the light?
because again, it's not the. Oh, you mean directly to tell him to do it? Because this is an isur of mechabe, putting out the light, and you're not getting a charcoal out of this, right? So it's a melacha rabbanan, and you telling a goy to do it, it becomes a double melacha rabbanan. Telling a goy is asur rabbanan, and for him to unscrew the light bulb is also the rabbanan, double the rabbanan. You're fine. Okay, in this case, we're not going to go around telling all the goyim to do all the melachot rabbanan for us. In this case, because you need your fridge. Now, what if Mustafa is dead? You don't have a goy. What are you going to do? So really, you are allowed to wait until the engine of the motor of the fridge shuts down. At that moment, with shinui, with your foot or something, pull the plug out of the fridge. Like, with shinui, when the engine is not working, go ahead and do that, but Baruch
Then all the
Hashem.
food rots.
Not
It won't- it won't.
not in a day. But that means you have to
it'll
remove
take
the
some
entire fridge, because who can get to the back of their fridge that easily? Right?
Well, you need to be very flexible to stick your foot
Yeah.
behind the fridge.
That's not easy.
Yeah, we gotta figure out. We gotta figure something out. That's it's gotta be something that's done beshinui, with not the regular way, and to do it. But Baruch Hashem, there's plenty of Mustafas out there, so you don't have to worry. If a person is not sure if they took care of the light before Shabbat, and now on Shabbat he wants to open the door, what do? Again, because it's a Isur Deoraita, it's a Sur from the Torah. It might be that the light is going to go on. Still, we can't do it. We got to go back to the previous thing that we said. Find a goy to open. If you can't find a goy, then
Even if it's a suffix.
yeah, of course, Safek Doraita.
Wow.
It's a Torah Safek, and
Can you tell like your kid, can you get me something from the refrigerator?
the poskim bring that you could tell your kid to open the door.
Uh-huh.
In this case, but I don't like it. I rather stick to the goy.
But they don't know.
The first step is a goy.
Uh-huh.
Definitely, the first step is a goy. Otherwise, who knows what effect it'll have on their poor neshama. If a person forgot to put the light out in the fridge and he made a mistake and he opened the door of the fridge and the light bulb came on, right? Are you allowed to take the food out of the fridge? You just did for Shabbat.
Yeah.
What did we say? Remember? Yeah. So we said that yes, it's a separate thing. You could take the food out, but now definitely you cannot close the door. So what can you do? You're not going to call the guy and tell him, hey, come close the door because you need the fridge again. So what should you do? You should try to put something like a towel or something to put there that it won't close. Now, if you know that you won't need your fridge anymore, then if it's the type of the door that if you let it go, it'll close on its own, then let it, right? But usually we need it. Usually we need our fridge. And the best thing to do to put like a towel or something around the opening that it'll close, but it won't close enough to turn the light off. Some people put a soda bottle in front of it, so it'll close but not all the way, and the light will stay on. Okay, good. Let's move on. Yeah, we could skip this. In the same token, a person is allowed to wear clothing that are synthetic, and when you're putting them on, they have static, right? So when you put them, you're like moving them, sparks. You're creating these sparks. That's allowed to do on Shabbat because it's pashut that you're allowed to do it because these things are not. It's not melacha of maveer. It doesn't involve any melacha at all. These statics and everything, the sparks, there's no melacha at all. So therefore, one could go ahead and use these articles of clothing. Baruch Hashem for static free, Baruch Hashem for different things that they have these days. That it's less and less.
Or if you go to the park and will slide down and there's static, like a lot of static on the slides.
Right. That's also fine.
It's not okay anyway. That's fine if your kids.
Now, is as you know, near the hotel, it's all over. They have security cameras now. It's more and more. There are security cameras that they video, video cameras that they video everything that goes on for safety and for other reasons. Is one allowed to walk by these cameras on Shabbat?
Well, they have it here too, no?
Yeah, but here, here also they have it. So for security purposes, they have it. Is one allowed to go in these places, in these streets, or in these homes, or in these places on Shabbat, knowing that you are being filmed, right? So the halacha is that yes, you are allowed to because for many reasons. Really, you're not doing anything; you're just walking, right? You're not doing anything that resembles a melacha even. You're just walking. Second of all, you don't your intention is not at all on the videoing, right? And it's not nikar. Nobody could tell that there's something going on, right? So it becomes a pasik reshe de lo nichale, de lo ichpatle. Doesn't care, and it's a derabanan again. This camera thing is a sur derabanan. You're not turning any lights on as a result of this, and so on and so forth. Therefore, certainly it would be allowed. The best thing to do, though, is if it has a screen, and which leaves an impression, that screen should be turned off. Okay? That's why in the building here, the screen is turned off prior to Shabbat, so that it won't leave any impressions there for people to see. Around the Kotel though, I think over there they leave the screen on. Again, for safety reasons, I'm not sure what they ended up doing, because there was a big question what to do over there by the Kotel. By the old
So
kids.
what do you mean?
You're turning off the
Going through the
metal
security
detectors.
Yeah.
That's nothing. That's no problem.
So how come a lot
That's
of
for
people walk
safety.
around it? They let you.
Because they don't want to be machmir.
Okay.
But halachically, you're allowed to, because it's for safety.
What about the sliding doors?
Okay.
That you walk next to it?
Next.
Wait, so you turn on the monitor, so what's the point of the security camera?
Oh, you turn it off? No, it's recorded. It's recorded for later on. You want to make sure to see if chas v'shalom something happens, then you have it recorded.
So
You
what
can
are
figure out.
what are you turning off?
Just the
Turn off
screen.
The actual screen.
It's getting recorded. Everything is getting recorded.
Okay, so what about baby monitors? You have to turn them off on Shabbos? We had a whole problem with that. That's my first child. We
You
would-
leave them on the whole Shabbat?
Yeah, it used to be on all the time, and then
The video one?
we realized, oh my gosh, we have to turn it off, and then one Shabbat we would forget to turn it off, so we can't go into the baby's room. So like, what do you do?
So really, halachically, it's fine,
Why can't you go into baby's room? It's on.
because you're going to be videoed.
But you're not doing anything.
Is it a motion detector? No, it's on the whole time. So really, halachically, you could use it, but definitely it's better in that case also to be machmir. Who needs that on Shabbat?
What do you need now?
Why do you need that, Tanya?
Why do you need a baby monitor? A while
First
ago,
child,
when
you
my
need-
first child was a
Oh,
baby,
your
and his
first
room's
time.
all the way.
It's a first child.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
first child syndrome.
Huh? No, when he cries in the middle of the night, you can't
So
go
you
to
get
sleep.
a thingy monitor, or a voice monitor.
Same
You're
idea.
also being recorded.
Same idea. But it's not recording at all. It's just a closed circuit thing. It's not recording. Neither the video or nor the voice thing. They're not recording. They're just amplifying the sound. And you're not talking into the mic. It's a lot of there are heterim for it. But again, I wouldn't recommend it. It's not a Shabbat thing to do. This is for safety, for security. A person does it over there. It's different. You walk down the street, and there are places near certain homes. Again, for safety, they have lights that if you get close to them, they turn on. Are you allowed to walk by there or not? If you could avoid it, certainly avoid it. But if you can't avoid it, this is the only way you could go. Or obviously you had no idea, then you are allowed to walk there, right? Well, you are allowed to if you don't know for sure you're allowed to. And if you knew, and this is the only path that you could take, or you're just lazy, you just want to go from this way, you really are allowed to, because again, you're only walking. All you're doing is just disconnecting the red, what is this thing called?
The lights that are being emitted.
The beam,
Laser.
right? The laser or the infrared. It's usually the infrared, right? That's going. You're just cutting that, and that's as a result that light goes on, and really again goes back to the thing. It's pesik reshe bederabanan delo nichal delo ichpat le. He doesn't care. Yes, for sure that light is gonna go on, but it's not something that I want. It's not something that I care for, and therefore it's even better than the cameras. Camera.
Should you cross the
Hi
street?
mom, I'm on camera. But over there, what camera? It's just the light.
Should you cross the street to avoid it?
Should you? You don't have to, but if you do, that would be really nice.
So
So the same thing by the sliding door, right? By the sliding door, the same thing. You should try to avoid it for sure. But if you need to, you have to. Then a lot of poskim say that a
By
person,
walking, if you walk past the door and it
Oh,
automatically
like
opens.
the-
Chas v'shalom, you want to go to the hospital, So a lot of them have this sliding door.
You're allowed to just walk to that?
Again, if
That's
you
when
can
it's for
avoid
you,
it,
it's different, no?
what?
It's not different if it's for you.
It's the ichpatle, right? You're saying, but again, what is the melacha? It's a derabanan, right? It's a pasik yeshiva derabanan. Certainly, poskim say that it's better to avoid it, use a regular door, or do what I did. I called the security guy, he comes close, and then the door opens, and that's it.
And then you run away. I don't need you anymore.
I don't need you anymore. And that's exactly what I said. He said, "Can I help you?" I said, "You just."